Hello and welcome to another video, and we're bringing it back. We're going and doing some Spreadsheet Warrior because MechWarrior Online actually has some weapon changes. It has been like a year and 9 months since weapon changes in this game, and that is way too long. However, they're here, primarily dealing with PPCs, Gauss rifles, a little bit about ballistic velocity, and a little bit about MRM health, but we'll get to those. Let's get a summary of it here. So we have the March 16th patch notes, a whole bunch of information here. You can go read that yourself. We're going directly to the weapons balance pass. So the last gameplay balance adjustments were with the Dervish in June 2019, like a year and 9 months ago. And we were all so innocent back then, pre-pandemic. I went to a movie theater once. I remember those. But now, they're going to be more aggressive with their changes than they've typically done in the past. They're going to be getting feedback from those changes, and then they're going to be taking that feedback back to the community to then discuss and see where we want to go for the future. So take this as my feedback. I haven't played the game in a while. However, I have put in several thousand hours, so I kind of know what I'm talking about. When we are looking at the energies, we're playing with the PPC lineup in a way that gives us more overall design space to find a niche for the many PPC subtypes in the game, as well as promote different overall battlefield roles. To this end, we are providing the baseline PPC a 20% boost to the upfront damage at the expense of 20% less overall DPS, with the different subtypes of the weapon having variations on this change. The ultimate goal is to better reward PPC players that successfully play to their weapon's strength, but also open them up to a bit more natural counterplay when pressured by more close-range focused mechs. Okay, so essentially what I get from that is they're saying we want to take away some of the overall DPS, we want to take away some of that sort of sustain, and we want to make it more of like a sniper rifle, big woomph, and then have to hide. You have that downtime where a person could push you and then you can't fire back because, oh no, I've done my big attack. I have several seconds where I'm useless. The guy rushes me with weapons that shoot faster, and he can kill me then. Okay, I get that concept. I have nothing against that concept. Some of the implementation is a little weird. However, let's go through it. So, to that end, pretty much for every single PPC in the game, damage has gone up, heat has gone up, cooldown has gone up, and velocity has gone up. Those changes put on into a spreadsheet are right here. Glorious spreadsheets! Oh, I'm back again. Of course, you'll probably want to watch this in 1080p on a desktop monitor so you can actually see the numbers. But hey, it's the Spreadsheet Warrior, so the spreadsheet is available for you to go, and there should be a link in the description to the Spreadsheet Warrior. It'll just be the first tab after the information page. So let's look at those changes. This is the PPC setup here. So when we have that, for example, IS PPC, we have the increase. This is the first one in a line is the stats before, and this is the stats after, within a green thing means it was buffed, and a red thing means it was nerfed, and that continues all the way across. So obviously, 2 extra damage out of 10 is an easy 20% change. 9.5 heat to 11 heat is 15.79% more heat. Yeah, you get the idea of here. However, some interesting things. They say in the patch notes here, cooldown increased from 4.5 to 6, yet in the game, the cooldown for the PPC is 4. And I confirm this in game. So, huh? That's not what the cooldown is. So are they running off some magical wrong numbers? But I don't know. I didn't see any other issues, but this number is incorrect here. But anyway, going from what it actually is, 4 to 6, you're shooting 50% less often, which seems to be about where things are with, like the light PPC getting 80% less like cooldown. Oh, sorry, what's the right way to phrase that? 80% more cooldown. However, you look over here at the DPS changes in this column, and you can see that, yeah, minus 20%, minus 20%, minus 22.76. They could probably change that instead of 7.25 to 7, and they would hit their 20%. For some reason why it's at 7.25. 19.05, that's close enough for have a nice round number for the amount of seconds there. They're hitting the numbers pretty good. The ERPPC, if they wanted to hit 20%, probably go to like 7.5 instead of actually 7. But they're getting close to the numbers they want in terms of 20% more damage, 20% less DPS. Those are pretty close. However, you're forgetting something here, PGI. One of these weapons is not like the other. One of these weapons is a shotgun. Why is the snub nose, the brawler PPC, getting the same treatment? It's supposed to be the short range, relatively cooler option to the PPC, I would hope. And you're saying, oh, we want a bit more counterplay when pressed with close range mechs. Well, the snub nose is meant for close range mechs. Its max range is only 270, for God's sakes. It's supposed to sync up with an AC-20. But now, when the AC-20 is sticking at 4 seconds cooldown and this is going to 6, what do you expect people to do? You expect people to go, okay, fire both at once, 4 seconds elapse, well, time to fire the AC-20, 2 seconds later, time to fire the snub nose. No, they're just going to wait the 6 seconds because stopping your damage rotation or peaking up again is just exposing yourself to more damage. We're going to wait until all of our weapons recycle and then rotate to target or peek over the ridge. So you're directly hurting Snubnose AC-20 Brawl mechs by making that change. Like, you said you wanted to differentiate their roles, right? The different subtypes. You wanted to promote different overall battlefield roles. Then why not do it this way and give the Snubnose PPC 20% increase in damage? That's great. And then just don't increase the, oh my god, not one. Don't increase the heat at all, and don't increase the cooldown at all, and just leave it there. Like, the strangest change out of all of this, though, is why the hell is the Snubnose getting 1700 meters per second? Why is it getting a 41.67% increase while the rest of them are getting 16 2/3? Like, no one needs 1700 meters per second on a snub. Like, I read that right? Yeah, velocity, Snubnose, 1700 from 1200. What? Like, you're firing your snubs at like 300 and 400 meters. You don't need like more velocity than a PPC, which you're firing at like 600, 700 meters. I don't understand that at all. Like, this 1700 Is that supposed to be on the PPC? Is the snub nose supposed to be 1400 instead of 1700? That would make sense if this was supposed to be on the PPC. But I think there's just no concept of why that's there. So not only is just why you got to do the snub nose dirty, man. It's so annoying. Oh wait, I gotta change that damage per heat. No, that goes back to 11. There we go. That damage per heat calculation was getting all weird. Poor snub nose. Then the other aspect of this is the... Let me just freaking resize this. There we go. Now I can see them all. The heat per second of these weapons is actually going down. Across the board, these weapons are now colder. Because they take longer to recharge, there's more time when you're heat sinking and not firing. Overall, they're colder. So, people will boat them more. Because you can fire more. Oh, it's like 20% cooler. Well, just put 20% more guns on. Like, as long as we're not pushing heat scale into any sorts of like super high levels, throw another PPC on. I was running 2, but the amount of time it takes to completely recycle, I'll just run a third and I'll fire them 2x1 or whatever it is. Because they're colder. Like, you want to make them the high heat, long range weapons. You're doing it wrong. But anyway, moving on. On to the ballistics. Gauss rifles change. So, Gauss rifle. We got damage increase, heat increase, cooldown increase, and health increase, although that isn't represented in my sheet there. Same thing for the light Gauss. The heavy Gauss, no changes. No changes to the damage, heat, or cooldown. Just makes it a bit more durable, so it doesn't explode as often. Then we got some additional velocity for the different autocannons. So, what does that change? For light Gauss, we're actually getting a really big damage increase, 37.5. However, this cooldown, man, this cooldown on light Gauss, is this a meme? I don't know. 101.92% increase in cooldown. What? Why? Why is that cooldown so high? Like, I thought, like, while reinforcing the PPC's roles, we wanted to apply similar changes. Similar. So, to help the light Gauss rifle better compete in this space, you're dropping the DPS the most out of all of these by minus 25%. So, what? I don't get it. Massive, like a good increase in damage. I've always said that light Gauss should be about 10 damage, and the other stats could change slightly, but you should just get a plain damage buff. I mean, 2.6 cooldown is pretty short, but there was half. Like, this was essentially half damage from the Gauss, and this was essentially half cooldown from the Gauss. That made sense. Okay, but why is this 5.25? Like, couldn't this be like 4? If you wanted to get the Gauss rifle, light Gauss, more ability to fight within its space, why isn't this pushing it so that this doesn't lose as much DPS? Or even any? Like, couldn't this just be like 3.5 and it gets a little bit of DPS boost? And it gets, you know, like, God damn. I don't know. Maybe there's some magical thing that I'm missing. But I just don't see that cooldown as being correct. 101% increase. Both the light weapons have the biggest increase in amount of cooldown. And the rest of the weapons are okay. Like, they're doing what they want to do. Gauss rifle and clan Gauss, more upfront damage, less overall DPS. Like, 13% increase in damage, minus 15% decrease in DPS. Like, that's clean. If that's what you wanted to do, that works. These numbers are clean. But the frick happened here, and the frick happened with the light PPC here, and what the hell happened with the stub nose there and here. Like, those are the places I have issues with. Moving on. Autocannon velocity. Okay. It's always great to have autocannon velocity. Why, though? Like, Autocannon 2, you don't need much more. Like, once you already have 1.8 kilometers per second here, you don't need much more because it's already really fast. But then the AC-20, which has always been sluggish, you gotta give it more. Like, if the AC-20 got to like 900 or like 950, oh, that would feel so good. I just dream of those days when you could have AC-20s be snappy at short range. Like, they're still short range. It's not like a magical thing where if they get more velocity, they'll get more range and they'll turn into like AC-10s all of a sudden. No, they're still AC-20s. They still have 270 meter range, but they're just like not howitzer shells that you need to lead like half your screen to hit kind of feeling. Like, please, I just want to lead on the front of the enemy I'm pointing at and hit them in the middle. I don't want to have to lead like beyond their mech to hit them with the slow ass AC-20. And then missile MRMs spread decreased on the 10s. Okay. And then health increased. Like, I don't know, AMS was that strong against MRMs? I have no idea. Mask. In the early days of Mask, due to technical limitations on the game, it was initially introduced as more of a raw mobility boost, as opposed to a pure speed boost. We have decided to tune this piece of equipment to be more focused on the sprint speed rather than the global mobility. Okay, I'm okay with that. So essentially, they're making it so that you can run for longer. The mask meter fill rate is reduced by 50%, meaning, for every time, like unit of time you're using it, you're using less of the fill rate. Yeah, well, you know what I mean. You can run 110% longer. You can run twice as long, essentially, with your mask. However, it is more for the go forward. It is your nitro boost to get out of there, instead of just being hold mask to spin like a top. So the mask boost to turn rates significantly reduced. And then they've got all the little details there. So there we go. Yeah, now that these first weapon and equipment changes have been implemented, we will be engaging with the community directly. I hope they watch my video to determine where to go from here. Remember, the next patch is just around the corner, so get out there and try the new weapon changes, try the new mask settings, and most importantly, give your feedback on the changes here. Tell us what we got right, what we got wrong, and what you think we should do next. Please make your posts respectful and useful, and not just do everything the Gulag says. Do everything the Gulag says. No, wait. Or similar sentiments. We have a lot of appreciation for the efforts of groups like the Gulag, and while we are relying on them even more now as we begin to move deeper into the weeds of MWO development, we have many factors to take into consideration when making significant changes to the game. And they got trial mechs that I believe some good Jay-Z made them, so they're good. Whatever he made, they're good mechs. They're competitive, so I trust Jay-Z implicitly when it comes to designing trials. Like, easy peasy. And the level of changes some lighting on 2 levels, and that's pretty much it. Other than that, that's all I wanted to rant about. Don't do the snub nose so dirty. It's such a niche weapon already. Gotta give that snub nose a chance to shine. But thanks for watching. Good hunting out there, fellow mech warriors.